can tell by the intro, today's topic is sus chords, and so here goes. My first usage of the sus chord came back when I was a wee lad, learning Patience by Guns N' Roses. And really, all those grips that you just saw are pretty basic, you know, your G, your C, your A major, and then that D grip. But what gives it a little special sus there is that, and you can hear that in so many songs. You could probably hear it in the back of your head in like hundreds of songs. And now you'll know to listen for that. And frequently it does occur on that D chord if the song is in standard tuning and it adapts itself to open chords, because I think that is the easiest grip to introduce this concept. So let's get right into it. So there's your traditional D chord, and you have your 1, 3, 5, in this case D, F sharp, and A. And if we were to instead insert and substitute out, instead of playing that 3 note in there, which is an F sharp, if instead we used a G, that's going to change the sound of it. And it masks whether or not it's major or minor, because we're counting on that to define the chord for us. All right. Likewise, if I was to then instead take that F sharp, open it up, and instead play a 2 note, which happens to be in the scale of D major, the E is the 2 note, I put that in there, all of a sudden now it's a very different feel. And if I had that as a standalone chord, not in my chord progression, it's pretty interesting. All right, and you so see some of the examples that we have involve just simply going from the sus4 back to the original, or from the sus2 to the original. And so that's the first example. All right, so there's your D grip. Next example would be the one that I did, a little version of Tommy. And again, it might not be in the right key, but it is an illustration anyways. So here's your A string major bar chord. What identifies this chord as major or minor, again, is my 3 note, which is here. If I take that 3 note and I back it up 1, it becomes a minor, totally different chord, okay? Different feel, different value. Instead, I could elect to play a sus2. So as we showed before, it would be taking this and dropping it back where a major 2 interval would be compared to my 3 note, which is a whole step back. And so here's my traditional E major, here's E sus2. It's very cool. All right, there's your E again. If I put my pinky down, okay, so in taking that 3 note and raising it up to where a 4 note would be in that scale, now I get this. And it kind of a little bit more tense and unsettled than the E itself, and so it kind of beckons to bring your ear back. And so you're in any case, in both the first 2 examples, it's taking you out of that chord, bringing you back in a way that doesn't really challenge the chord progression all that much. All right, here's another one that put in there, Mama, I'm Coming Home. So you can totally get away with playing C sharp minor, big whole A chord, A major, and then play your E major, backing that up in the chords. But I think it's neat that Zach decided to throw that A sus chord in there, and it really gives space and just injects a little bit of helium into that chord progression and then lands it. So awesome. What's another one that we talked about? Is that those are the basic examples. The free falling would be under the D shape thing that we talked about earlier. It's just kind of moved up and capoed traditionally. How about the last one? So the last one is when you're absolutely got to throw every sus chord in the world. Well, one shape, but just subbing out everything that you would have had in your chord progression. Let's do the chord progression without it. Almost any song, all right? Just like a nice minor sounding rock progression. Instead, who are now probably the old Bohemians, but back in the day they were the new Bohemians. This is using, and instead putting that special sus to the max, just emptying a whole bottle of it here. We have B sus2, sliding up to the D sus2, A sus2, back to, oops, so my head has switched back to the, that's how different it is. So that it's basically, it's all sus all the time, all right, wall to wall sus. So, let's try that again. So all sus2s. We did. So, all right, the only one last one that we didn't really use, which to me is less common, would be, let's do it in a key we haven't done yet. How about in G? All right, so now here is my 3 note. So that, and that bar chord, if I drop it 1 half step, it becomes minor. However, if I were to raise it up 1, it becomes a G sus4. And that's a cool way, again, of sort of concealing, like having kind of a soft landing onto your tonic for the song, where you kind of mask it and then bask in it. All right. In summary, I would say take some of the chords that you know and see if you can, either using literally just the mechanics of it, or by using the thought process of figuring out how could you take some of the chords in your world and turn them into sus chords, and then see if they're appeal to you and if they do anything interesting for the chord progressions that you have. All right. Also keep an eye out for when this happens in pop music. Cool. Good luck. Have fun. See you in the next one.